Welcome, curious minds, to another deep dive. Today, we're taking on a really fascinating subject: consumption, waste, and sustainability. But we're going to look at it through a pretty unique and profound lens: Islamic teachings.
Right.
You shared some incredible sources with us, and as we went through them, something pretty stark emerged. We live in an age of, well, staggering excess, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. The average person today uses so many more resources, creates more waste, burns more energy than really most societies in history.
And often it feels like all this outward stuff, this, accumulation, might be hiding something else, maybe a kind of internal emptiness.
That's a really insightful point. And what's striking is that Islam offers this profound counter-narrative to that exact modern dilemma.
How so?
Well, it calls us towards a lifestyle that's rooted not really in deprivation, but in simplicity, sufficiency, and what you might call sacred restraint.
Sacred restraint, I like that.
And right at the heart of this, you find this incredibly powerful ethical statement. It's from the Quran, chapter 7, verse 31. O children of Adam, dress well at every place of worship, and eat and drink, but do not be excessive. Indeed, he does not love those who waste.
Wow. So the key there is do not be excessive.
Exactly. And the implication is huge. It says, he does not love those who waste, Israf. So our consumption habits, they're not just economic or environmental issues anymore.
It becomes spiritual.
Precisely. The very act of excess, Israf, is framed as something that actually distances us from divine love. It's not just breaking a rule, it's about a potential spiritual consequence in our everyday choices.
Okay, that elevates things immediately. Eating, drinking, buying it all becomes potentially significant on a spiritual level.
It really does. It turns simple acts into moments of, well, potential connection or disconnection.
That's a powerful place to start. So if our consumption can impact something that profound, we really need to understand the foundation here. Where does Islamic ethics begin when it comes to consumption?
It really starts at the concept of risk.
Risk. Okay, what does that mean exactly?
Risk basically means provision, sustenance, everything we have. And the core idea is that all risk is a direct gift from Allah.
Ah, okay. So seeing it as a gift, not just something we earned or acquired.
Exactly. And that changes everything, right? If something is a gift, you treat it differently.
You treat it with gratitude, presumably, not greed.
Precisely. Gratitude, responsibility, you don't just waste a gift. So from that fundamental understanding, specific ethical guidelines emerge. You find them in the Quran and the Sunnah, the Prophet's practices.
Like what specifically?
Well, for starters, we're guided to eat what is halal permissible and also ayyib.
Ayyib.
Yeah, ayyib means pure, wholesome, good, beneficial. It's not just about avoiding the forbidden, but actively seeking out what's genuinely good for you physically and spiritually, kind of a holistic view.
Okay, halal and ayyib. Makes sense. What else?
Then there's a very strong emphasis on avoiding israf.
Which we mentioned, plain wastefulness.
Right, and also avoiding tabdir.
Tabdir, what's the distinction there?
Tabdir is often translated as extravagance or prodigality. Think of israf as maybe, cooking way too much food and letting it spoil. Tabdir is more like spending wastefully on things you don't need, maybe for status or just for the sake of spending. It's a deeper kind of wastefulness, often involving wealth itself.
Got it. So avoid waste, avoid extravagance. What else?
There's also a consistent encouragement to share what you have, even if it seems like very little. Generosity is key.
Sharing, yeah.
And finally, consuming mindfully, with remembrance, Steek, of the giver, being aware of the blessing as you consume it.
That mindfulness piece seems crucial. It ties back to the gratitude you mentioned.
It absolutely does.
There are some verses and sayings that really bring these ideas to life. They're so direct.
There are, yes.
Like Quran 16.113. And eat from what Allah has provided you lawful and good. Pretty straightforward.
Halal and ayyib right there.
Exactly. Then Quran 17.26 takes it further. Give the relative his right and also the poor and the traveler, and do not spend wastefully. That connects consumption directly to social responsibility, to sharing.
Yes, avoiding tabdir, that wasteful spending, and channeling resources where they're needed.
And the prophetic sayings, the hadith, they can be really striking, like, the son of Adam does not fill any vessel worse than his stomach.
Oof. Yeah, that one hits hard in today's world of supersized everything.
It really does. Or the one about community. Eat together and do not eat separately, for the blessing is in the congregation. That speaks against isolating ourselves, even in something as basic as eating.
It highlights the social communal aspect of blessings.
But for me, The one that always stands out, the most challenging maybe, is about water. Do not waste water, even if you perform ablution on the bank of a flowing river.
Ah, yes, that's a classic example.
I mean, a flowing river. It seems like the definition of abundance, yet still, the command is not to waste. It makes you think about, I don't know, leaving the tap running or using more than you need of anything, really.
It's incredibly potent because it shows the principle transcends the apparent abundance. Even when a resource seems limitless, the ethical obligation to not waste remains. It's about your inner state, your discipline, not just the external supply.
So it's less about resource management in that specific instance, and more about spiritual discipline.
Exactly. It connects these individual actions, how you use water, how much you eat, to a much broader spiritual practice. It's about cultivating a conscious awareness, maybe even a conscious discomfort with any kind of excess.
A conscious discomfort. That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, it fosters this lifestyle where your choices, eating, drinking, dressing, how you live, are meant to nourish your soul without harming the earth or indeed your own spiritual state. It's about finding that balance.
A balance rooted in awareness and accountability. It really does connect the dots. And speaking of embodying this balance, the Prophet Muhammad himself, peace be upon him, his life seems like a direct living counter-narrative to modern consumption.
Oh, absolutely. His life, his Sunnah, is probably the most powerful illustration of these principles in action. He didn't just teach simplicity, he lived it, day in and day out.
Can you give some examples?
Well, there are many stories. He used to repair his own shoes, mend his own garments, not necessarily because he couldn't get new ones later in his life, but as a practice. It showed value for resources, a rejection of waste, a certain humility.
So it wasn't about poverty per se, but a conscious choice.
It seems so. He ate simple food, often going long periods with very little. He was known to be content with basics like dates and water. He actively discouraged hoarding wealth or possessions. He praised minimalism, really.
That idea that true wealth isn't about how much you have stacked up.
Exactly. It's about inner peace, sufficiency, gratitude for what you do have, contentment.
He also had some incredibly profound things to say about our relationship with worldly life, didn't he? Things that just cut through the noise.
He did. Very powerful statements.
Like the famous one, live in this world as though you are a stranger or a traveler.
That puts everything in perspective, doesn't it? A traveler doesn't usually accumulate tons of unnecessary baggage. They travel light. They know they're just passing through.
It detaches you from excessive attachment. And there's another one that I find just brings so much clarity. Whoever among you wakes up secure in his property, healthy in his body, and has his daily bread, it is as if he possessed the whole world.
Yeah. That fundamentally redefines wealth, doesn't it? Security, health, basic sustenance. In today's world, we're often told we need so much more to have it all.
It really challenges that narrative. What do you think is the biggest hurdle in trying to apply that kind of perspective today in our consumer-driven societies?
I think the biggest challenge is that it runs directly counter to the deeply ingrained cultural message that more is better, that our value, our happiness, even our identity is somehow tied to what we own or consume.
The constant advertising, the social pressure.
All of it. The genius of the prophetic model isn't just that he lived simply, but that he showed how profound an impact you can have from that simplicity. His influence wasn't tied to material wealth.
If anything, maybe the lack of material burden freed him up.
That's a great way to put it. It suggests that freedom from excess brings clarity of purpose, maybe even a greater capacity for connection and influence. Simplicity isn't presented as deprivation, but as a form of liberation.
Liberation from the constant need for more.
Yes, and that speaks so directly to our time, where we see the environmental consequences of unchecked consumption, and maybe also the psychological burden of always wanting the next thing. It challenges the illusion that more automatically equals better.
So if we connect this back to sustainability, it sounds like the Islamic approach isn't really about inventing brand new green systems from scratch.
Not primarily, no. It's more about a return to timeless principles that were perhaps lost or ignored.
Okay. Can we sort of distill those core principles? What would be the pillars of sustainability from this perspective?
I think you could frame it around 4 key concepts, all deeply interwoven. First, moderation or wasatiyah. This is the idea of the balanced middle path. Applied here, it means balanced, just use of resources, water, energy, materials. Avoiding extremes, avoiding waste.
Okay, moderation, wasatiyah. What's next?
Second, gratitude or shukr. We touched on this. Seeing consumption itself, when done mindfully, as an act of worship, recognizing the blessing and using it appropriately as an expression of thanks.
Right, shukr. That changes the motivation.
It does. Third is charity, or sadaqah and zakah. This isn't just about giving money, though that's part of it. It's the principle of redistributing any excess, sharing blessings, ensuring resources circulate to alleviate hardship and promote community well-being. It counteracts hoarding.
So built-in redistribution. And the fourth?
Fourth is stewardship, or khilafah. This is the fundamental understanding that humans are entrusted as caretakers, as vicegerents on Earth. It implies a deep responsibility for the planet, guiding us towards ethical production, regenerative practices, and protecting creation for future generations.
Khilafah.
Yeah.
Stewardship, that's a big one. Moderation, gratitude, charity, stewardship. It sounds incredibly holistic.
It really is. It moves beyond just rules and regulations. It aims to transform our entire relationship with resources, embedding it within a spiritual and ethical framework. Our choices become part of a larger cosmic responsibility.
And you definitely see these ideas reflected in the Quran, too. Like that verse 28.77, seek the hereafter by means of what Allah has given you, and do not forget your share of the world.
Exactly. That's wasatiyah right there. Balance. Don't neglect the spiritual for the material, but don't completely abandon your worldly needs either. Find the just balance.
And also, Quran 16.9. Indeed, Allah commands justice and excellence. That seems to underpin the whole thing, acting justly towards the planet, towards resources, towards others.
Absolutely. Justice, aval, and excellence ihsan are foundational commands that apply to everything, including our environmental conduct.
So are we seeing these principles actually put into practice today? Are there concrete examples?
Yes, definitely. It's growing. Think about the Green Mosque movement, for instance.
Okay, what does that involve?
You see mosques actively implementing things like solar panels for energy, rainwater harvesting, serious water conservation measures, recycling programs, aiming for zero waste. It's applying these principles directly to the community hub.
That's really practical. What else?
There's also a growing interest in Islamic farming principles. This often means going back to more traditional, sustainable methods focusing on soil health, biodiversity, ethical treatment of animals, avoiding harmful chemicals, using crop rotation, working with the ecosystem.
Like regenerative agriculture, but rooted in Islamic ethics.
Precisely. And another fascinating development is the concept of eco-Zakāh.
Eco-Zakāh, so like channeling the mandatory charity towards environmental projects.
Exactly. Recognizing that protecting the environment, restoring damaged ecosystems, ensuring clean water, these are forms of social justice and community well-being. So, using Zakāh funds to support environmental NGOs or restoration projects.
Wow. That directly links a core religious duty with ecological action.
It does. It shows how deeply these things can be intertwined.
It's really clear then that sustainability in Islam isn't just some add-on. It's deeply connected, spiritual and practical, linking your inner state, your intention, with your actual footprint on the earth.
It's fundamentally holistic, yes.
Okay, as we start to wrap up this deep dive, maybe we can just quickly recap the main takeaways.
Sure, I think the core lessons are, first, that the Quran and the Sunnah provide a really robust framework emphasizing moderation, deep gratitude, and ethical restraint in how we consume anything.
Moderation, gratitude, restraint. Got it.
Second, the Prophet's own life, his simplicity, isn't just a historical anecdote. It's presented as a living, practical model for sustainable living that we can still learn from today.
A model of simplicity as freedom, not deprivation.
Exactly. Third, these Islamic teachings offer this deeply rooted basis for ecological responsibility, connecting our faith directly to how we treat the planet. It's not just a modern trend.
Right.
And finally, perhaps the main point is that true sustainability from this perspective is really a kind of return. A return to balance, a return to Tawhid, the core Islamic principle of the oneness of God, which implies the interconnectedness of all creation, and a return to prophetic ethics.
A return to balance, Tawhid, and ethics. That's a powerful summary. And as we finish up here, maybe something for you, our listeners, to think about. What if every meal you ate, every drink you took, every single purchase you made could become an act of dhikr?
A remembrance.
Yeah, a conscious remembrance that we aren't really owners here, but simply caretakers, stewards of the blessings we've been given. What kind of profound shift might that bring to your daily life, and maybe, just maybe, to the world around you?